This week in league, Blake Ferguson on suicide watch after being told he's not wanted at the club that signed Bryce Cartwright.
West Tigers make the bold but accurate statement that no one who comes to their club should expect their career to improve.
Cameron Smith releases his new book featuring a chapter blaming the person who caught the Storm cheating for catching the Storm cheating.
Plus, we look back on all the action for 2020 State of Origin 3.
All that and more this week in league. Welcome to episode, what are you up to? 376? 377? I can't fucking even remember. 370, I think it's 377.
Oh.
Of This Week in League. The preparation. I'm Nate, and I am the epitome of preparation.
The epitome of preparation.
The epitome of preparation.
Preparation. Preparation. High demand preparation.
Yeah, it's funny. We've been what are we, 76? That must be 77. Must be 77. I'm just looking. I literally just going through, looking at the old repository of episodes I have to find out what the most recent number is on there. I don't see the ones from last week. Oh, fucking I don't know. Anyway, it's that episode. Enjoy it. How you doing, man? Like bit of context. We've been at it for fucking like 2.5 hours already tonight, doing the live stream for the Digi members of the State of Origin 3, and as you can imagine, that was
we're basically
fucking extremely enjoyable.
We're a club level second rower who's had to play 80 minutes of Origin in the centres.
Yep.
After 5 years of constant HIAs.
Yep. That's about where we're at right now, mentally. Yeah,
and
but
fucking sad, like legit disappointed in how poorly New South Wales crumbled when the blowtorch was applied to them.
Yeah. Fuck it, you want to talk about the game right now? Let's just talk about the game right now.
Well, let's get it out of the way.
Let's just fucking get over with. Doing a bit of a new structure this week. It's all fucked up.
Well, rip the fucking Band-Aid off. That game, from a New South Wales perspective, was pretty much a carbon copy of Game 1.
Yeah, because the carbon copy, let's say the carbon copy of the second half of Game 1.
In terms of,
for me,
they did everything in defence to let Queensland make the most of almost every set they have in terms of territory and choosing how to end the set. Across the park, they did a horrible job of wrapping up offloads. The second phase play absolutely killed them. And even when it should have been fucking apparent that offloads were aplenty, there was the effort there to stop the second phase was poor.
Yep.
There was a distinct lack of intensity and energy between the two teams in attack.
Yeah, and like New South Wales did have that. They did have that intensity, early on after the Queensland scored that first try. Then New South Wales responded, with a lift in attitude. But after Teddy got killed, that was the end of it. That's where it stopped, and it never really came back.
Yeah. And after the absolute fucking contact by Jai Arrow.
Unpunished contact, mind you.
Which realistically, if we're going to have video officials, that's a perfect example of what they need to be picking up. Because let me play fuckwit's advocate for a second, because Sutton is indeed a Class A fuckwit. And whilst I would never wish harm on another human being, and let me make this clear that I myself would never do anything to endanger him at all, I would do a fucking happy dance if he got hit by a bus. And I'd be very concerned for the mental health of the driver, just as I would for anybody that ran over a dog. that really should be the sort of thing.
We are the creators of the ironic, mocking ref's fault scarf, so we can't allow ourselves to be seen to be ref's faulting. I'd much rather put the blame.
That's what I said. I'm playing fuckhead's advocate. At that stage, he was actually up doing what he should have been doing, following the ball and following the play.
Yeah.
But that was a perfect opportunity for the video officials to come back and say there was foul play off the ball, and that needs to be looked at. Yep. So that was not a Suttonism, that one.
Yeah.
But in saying that, James Tedesco isn't making fucking 4 out of 5 hit-ups per set.
Yep.
James Tedesco shouldn't need to be in Nathan Cleary's ears saying 5 out, 5 in. 5 out, 5 in.
Or even like if even more succinct, like something like fucking be good cunt.
It also means that
stop the fucking. It's not the eerie of midfield bomb Eries.
Teddy's not there, telling everyone outside to fucking chase, or shouldn't be. It was a lackluster performance from New South Wales across the park. After game 2, where it looks like they did it fairly fucking easy, that team has no idea how to get in and outwork another team. And I'm not talking about individuals, because obviously all of those individuals are very successful football players. We know that. There are no Tigers at all involved in State of Origin. So they're all good players.
Yep.
And in their respective clubs, they've all had instances where they've really gotten in, dug deep and done it. But as a team, everyone looked like they were just waiting on everybody else. And as soon as no one else was going to put in the effort, no one else wanted to be the first man to do it. And that, to me, comes down to coaching. Because if in all of this time they've had together, and it's been an extended amount of time together, you haven't picked up on that being an issue, which fucking you and I did in game 1.
Yeah.
And you haven't done anything to rectify that or to task someone with being that person, that's an extremely worrying sign for me. Queensland, on the other hand, did all of those small rugby league things right. They kicked for field position. They were dominant in their kick chase. They made New South Wales work it out of their end every single set. They won the fucking territory battle. And even though their attack was absolute fucking poo, I mean...
Look, they could truck down for 4 tackles and get themselves into a position to attack at the end of almost, it felt like every set. But when it came down to actually being in the red zone, I mean, it was just side to side to side to side to side. And, it didn't look very threatening. Although, I will say that Val still fucking bombed like 3 to 4 tries there in the second half alone. So, I mean, they were creating something.
eBay has officially run out of fucking Val Holmes posters because he has now been put up inside every Al-Qaeda cell training camp as an inspiration for the man that can bomb multiple times without dying.
Yep.
Fuck. So that game, realistically, should have been, 24 to 12. If Val had learned how to hold
at least.
The ball.
Yeah. I mean, like 24, that's generous. I mean, they could have been 30.
Yeah.
I mean, there was legitimately that one that he did, where he just dropped it. Like, dropped it cold. But there was there's some other, off that great offload. I can't remember who threw the offload there as he was falling to the ground. It was fucking great. But look, I think one thing that needs to be addressed, because you know what Queensland spirit and passion, PASHUN, passion entails.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk of the the worst Queensland side ever, and Cherry Evans referred to it in his speech, in his acceptance speech of the trophy as well. So obviously it was something that was taken to heart by those guys and used as a motivational tool.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you're talking about the worst Queensland Origin team of all time, you need to know your history and you need to look at the most written off Queensland Origin team of all time.
Yeah.
Which was, of course, in 1995. The team consisted, like, I'm gonna granted, Queensland never had a fucking valuable fullback in this series at any stage.
That's it.
However, so let's take fullback out of the spine conversation. The halves for that series for Queensland, Dale Shearer, Adrian Lamb, Jason Smith, they shared 5/8 and halfback.
Yep.
3 of them. Wayne Bartram was the hooker.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that you've got the fucking a guy that's won 2 of the last 3 premierships or the rookie of the year in a hooker.
Yeah.
You've got the current Australian 5/8 and halfback. Don't start telling me. Don't start. I mean, Queensland will want to. They want to pump it up into a mythological thing.
Yeah.
But fucking relax. But it was the most. I mean, let's light candles. It was the most Origin like of all the games this series. Thank fuck.
It was.
The contact was willing.
Look.
The contact was hard. I
don't know.
I don't think we got it at any stage. In the first game, it wasn't there from either side. The second game wasn't there because the game wasn't particularly a contest. This is the game where it was actually happening, and at least it was played, in the way that you would expect a decider to be played.
Yeah, fair call.
Munster, obviously he was a big inspiration but I don't think Munster was really he wasn't the factor. I mean, he had that one great moment with that triple kick thing down around the left hand side.
Look, Harry Grant was phenomenal for Queensland.
Harry Grant's phenomenal. Fucking. I think it's really more than anything. I think it's a triumph of Wayne Bennett's coaching.
Correct.
Over and particularly like in a head-to-head coaching battle. I mean, I think that Kevy versus Fittler is a very like for like kind of battle in terms of coaching IQ, and and Wayne, clearly one of the greatest coaches of all time. And that's the other thing too. I mean, that you talk about the worst Queensland team of all time, it was fucking Fatty Vaughton coaching them too back in '95. Not Wayne Bennett, who's like if not an automatic selection as the greatest Australian rugby league coach of all time. I mean, he's certainly at worst top 3, and he's in the conversation.
Yeah.
Versus anyone who wants to put their credentials against him. So
that's it.
So if I can check that shit at the door right away.
The other thing, Queensland just dominated in the middle of the field. Their forwards tonight, were 2 gears above any of the New South Wales forwards.
Yep. Exactly.
And it comes down when Teddy's off the field. If Cleary's going to be vice captain, he needs to learn how to stand up in those situations.
Yeah. It's just even regardless of like any captaincy leadership group or anything like that. I mean, it's his fucking job. Yeah. And he was just derelict in his fucking job. I mean, there were so many times when he was just like out of position to be the one to take the kick. There was that fucking disastrous fucking exchange where I think Cleary had the ball on the fourth tackle and played it to Cook, and then Cook started to run.
Then passed
from
it to
dummy
Jake.
half, and he's like, "Oh fuck, it's the last tackle." So, here, Jake, you have a kick.
That
like,
typified.
And the thing is, Turbo kicked, and to his credit, he did kick a very Nathan Cleary like midfield bomb.
That's it. But that typified New South Wales night. The set before that had a good set, but then they would do everything possible to fuck themselves. I'm not sure we need wholesale changes.
Just an injury-free fucking side that's all they really need.
Yeah.
You have to remember they lost Teddy for this game. They lost Cam Murray early in the series. They didn't have Turbo at all, Tommy Turbo at all for the series, and I mean he was an absolute lord in the fucking right wing position last game. Pappenhausen was fucking mismanaged his injury and fucking denied himself the opportunity to play the first 2 games and wasn't selected in the third because he was fucking too busy celebrating the grand final and didn't ice his fucking calf. Yeah. Like just dumb shit like that. And I mean a lot of that is a fucking product of this postseason Origin weird asterisk
Correct.
2020 COVID bullshit. So to it's there's a unique set of circumstances that may never present themselves again. But I tell you what, Cleary needs to be this 3 game fucking guy. He needs to step up every every
Correct.
game in a series.
That's it.
You can't just look amazing.
And you know what?
He
had that 40-20 tonight. And then
I thought that was the moment when, okay, great. It's like,
next
like
play it's knocked on. That's fine. But stand up and try and get them into position with your foot again.
Yep.
You know, so, however, just like the actual season result, this State of Origin has an asterisk on it and doesn't count because of COVID, when it was played, who was available for selection. It was pretty much a training run.
Yep. An exhibition.
Yeah.
An exhibition.
That's it. It was a hobby game.
Yep. Exactly.
So next year,
and
when
so
New South Wales
I know Queensland
win the series.
Well, the passion that Queensland the passion that Queensland fans have, I know that they won't accept Asterisk wins as real and talk shit about it either.
And so
they won't.
Next year, when New South Wales win the series, it will be 3 in a row.
Exactly. Hit some comments from what I'm sure is an absolute fucking circus of a mailbag for this game.
Yes. Ryan said Cleary is Leonidas leading the 300 against the Persians at the moment. Never have I seen a more courageous effort to resist a Queensland attack. Mitch said Queensland literally throwing anything and everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. And just like the Cowboys and Warriors of yesteryear, when it works, it works. That is a very apt description of everything Queensland were doing. They were...
Yep.
Yeah, definitely not sharp or crisp in attack, I guess.
Look, at the end of the day, they'll again, like the amount of offloads they got away,
exactly.
and just going in these multiple phases of play. It just creates opportunity and it fatigues the opposition in defence, which yields more offloads and more fucking go forward.
Mitch then followed up with, fuck, now I got to deal with yet another bunch of drunk, drugged up and entitled fuckwits in Byron this weekend. Hayden.
Shut the borders.
As a Tigers fan, I'll cop that call from Munster in the after-match interview about Harry Grant. He's lucky he's staying at the Storm. So unlucky Tigers. Well done, Queensland. Munster 3-day bender is on the cards. Jesus, I didn't see that. That's hilarious. Carsten said, we pulled you down to our level and beat you at being shit. Queenslander. How the fuck are you a Queenslander? How the fuck are you a Queenslander? Carsten. Although
he's one of the worst.
Not surprising.
He's one of the worst Queenslanders. Like fucking. Well, he's look, I get it. He's just falling down party lines with the state where his club team that he selected, comes from. I get it, but yeah, I mean, you can't be feeling like some sort of emotional.
Well, no, it is. It's typical Queenslander. The OG genociders. Of course, you'd support Queensland.
Righto, reverse order show. News articles. One news thing that I want to talk about is that I guess it's just an absolute, and like we know a lot of West Tigers supporters and they're fucking great people. Agree?
Fuck them. They deserve all the worst things in life.
Okay.
How am I sitting here and trying to defend what obviously the universe has in store for them?
Okay.
So at some stage in their life, they have done something to piss off the gods of karma, which is why they have been gifted with the West Tigers.
Yep. Okay. So earlier in this week, the whole Addo Carr situation fell through for the Tigers, and he'll be staying at Melbourne in 2021. Maybe he'll be back and join the Tigers next year, or the following season. But who knows? Because at that point, he's pretty much a free agent. Sign for whatever, and who knows what people's salary cap situations look like at that point, right? Then, and obviously this goes back. You got the Ryan Madison situation from the end of last season that led into this season with Madison going to the Eels. You had the Mitchell Moses to the Eels thing. Like this is there's this like an absolute. There's this reams of stories written about West Tigers being cucked by players that want to get out. And the latest one that we'll see what happens is I'll make garlic sauce, Aloye, who the timeline's strange, but apparently it's like he was looking for an extension at the Tigers. Went so far as telling Madge how much his game had improved under him, and 2 weeks later, he's just like, "I'm never wearing the jersey again."
Yeah,
fucking let me out, and and now now words come out that Manly were looking at signing him. The CEO said that, look, once his contract runs out at the end of 2021, we'll definitely get him on board. But the prevailing wisdom is that if you can get an early release, then then Manly will grab him up, for next season as well, and all hell breaks loose. This may be because, like, let me get it straight. I mean, even though my club's involved in the actual collection of this player, like he and his manager are absolute fucking cunts, and this is something that we've railed against several times this season. This player-led ridiculousness.
Yeah, that's it.
Of just chucking a tanty to get released, and there's no like punishment or whatever, and so on their part, I can't. It wasn't Pascoe, was it? It was another guy over it. It was another guy over at the Tigers that said basically like, look, he's serving his contract. If he's not going to play with us, I mean, he'll be mowing.
He can mow lawns.
He can mow the lawns at Leichhardt, and and to which a lawyer put something on his Instagram story, like a poorly photoshopped picture of his head on a guy mowing a lawn, saying something like, I'll make sure it's a fast track for you fellas, or something like that, which has since been deleted because it is. I mean, it's funny to us, but I mean, as a player in a situation where he's agitating for a release from a club, it's obviously very unprofessional and not a great look for him. Also, I think it speaks to his mentality as well as a player. I mean, as the player that sort of comes along with that sort of shit, is he the guy that you really, with that attitude, is he the guy that you want at your club anyway? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, not for me, but
yeah. Well, where does he want to go?
Well, this is it. I mean, presumably, he thinks if Manly had put a table to deal for 22 and 23, that if he can get an early release, then he can sort of up that and, throw 21 on there as well. So
it's a very fucking interesting thing. And again, I'm just having a wild fucking guess here. I'm not sure Manly are talking to anyone going, yeah, we'll give you overs, but you got, go back and talk to your club and see what they think.
Yeah.
I'm almost 100% sure that a player agent has given Manly the impression that West know he's not happy and they'll be fine with a release. What are you happy to give him?
Yep.
So yet again, player managers being absolute fucking blights on the game and putting a player in a position where all he'll be told is, yep, Manly interested, and I'm pretty sure I can get you out of the Tigers.
Exactly. And it's the thing, even if the West Tigers stand firm and do what they should and, force him, compel him to complete his legal contract that he signed, he's either going to be... He's not... Well, obviously, the stuff he's come out with, you don't want that guy playing in your first grade side, so he's not playing first grade. So that means he's basically on gardening leave or he's in reserve grade and you're paying him $500,000 or whatever to do that.
To be in Reggie. So there's no... Fuck.
Yeah, and I mean, and the player still wins. He doesn't get what he wants, but I mean, the club's still got $500,000 or whatever their cap, sat down in reserve grade. They have no intention of using and can't divest themselves of. So,
and so what do you do when you have opposed sessions against the Reggie's teams, and he's in there calling Madge a fucking bald boomer cunt?
Yeah,
fucking come at me, Madge.
It's legit like a no-win situation for the club.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that the players don't care necessarily because they're going to get signed at some point. So I mean, they know they're going somewhere the year after and year after that. So they're like, well, okay, I can bunker down and be a cunt for a year.
But it is interesting that it isn't as widespread in other clubs.
Yep.
You know, that's like you look at Adokar.
Yeah.
He wasn't going into Melbourne saying, "I'll never fucking play for you again. You're all shitheads."
Yeah, no, they were like, look, we're going to release you given the right circumstances, and then
Yeah.
the West Tigers didn't come through with the correct circumstances required for the to offset the release, so the release didn't happen.
That's it. See you later.
And look, it's probably easy to stay at a place, make that decision, within a month after after you've won a comp, but
Yeah, that's it.
at the same time though, especially if it was like a compassionate sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. A year's a long time when you want to be getting back to your family.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, like, so on one hand, I think it's hilarious because, like the meme club with the cuck fan base is at it again.
Well, especially also considering that earlier in the week, you saw the fucking article where they're courting James Roberts.
Yeah.
The player that every fucking team in the comp knows, although it is a very sad situation, is not worth the fucking risks.
Yep.
That arguably the greatest man manager that the game's ever seen in Wayne Bennett couldn't keep him on the straight and narrow.
Yep.
And has decided to cut loose. And Wests think that they're the club to turn him around.
Yeah.
Did you see Justin Pascoe in that fucking interview?
He looked...
in the meeting?
Yeah, in the meeting with James Roberts, yeah. He looked like he was on day 7 of like of a massive fucking bender.
He looked like he lost a bet, bragging he could party with the cheese.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Greasy fucking hair.
Yep.
Like dirty clothes.
Yep.
Like that's your CEO for Christ's sake.
Yep.
It's yeah. You know what they say, fish rots from the head down.
That's it. And I'll tell you that head's rotten fucking looking. Rotten as hell. Unless other news things. Like briefly, Blake Ferguson's been told he won't be at Parramatta next year. And in the same breath, they signed Bryce Cartwright to a cheap deal in the hope of turning his career around. So Ferguson's career will expire at the conclusion of next year's season. And he will not be offered a new contract after that. So I guess his options there after that are to go to maybe the Dragons or Super League. But
would you take him for the right money?
No.
Given your depth issues?
Not anymore. Not anymore. No, not anymore. Like, I mean, like a year ago. Like, because remember, this year he wasn't good either.
Yeah, no.
He was way down. Going, you remember, like, it was probably only two years ago, and he's fucking carting the ball back to the 40 after taking kicks out. Like he was valuable as shit. I mean, shit human, valuable as fuck though on the field.
Correct.
That value really petered out this year, I think. Yeah. And remember, he went trialless for such a long time as well in this season. It was he went trialless for so long that it was a thing that it was kind of like a Blake Ferguson try watch sort of situation. So the Eels are keen on bringing on Josh Mansour in place of Ferguson.
There you go.
So, and look, I think if you're comparing 20 years, yeah, I get it. I would agree.
Yep.
And this
and probably cheaper.
Yeah. And as I said, they also they've signed Cartwright to a 1-year deal.
Yes.
For $130,000.
So realistically, they're trying to become the 2016 Penrith Panthers.
Yeah.
That's the Eels' golden way forward.
Look, honestly, I think that $130,000 for a year of Cartwright is not terrible business.
That's it.
That is what I call like where the price is actually right.
Yes.
And it provides, incentive for him to rebuild his career at a contender finals, club.
Yep.
And in a completely, new environment, and presumably, at Parramatta, he's presumably close to a lot of family and probably friends and things like that he hasn't been with during his time at the Gold Coast.
Graveyards.
Yeah.
Big ones, little ones.
A lot of seed. a lot of pouring out of 40 for all the seed that washed away. But but yeah, look, I mean, I think that's good business. I mean, that's good business for him and good business for them. Because I mean, 130 grand is not a small amount of money.
Correct.
It's better than
That's
fucking.
it.
It's better than laying bricks.
And also that when you think that every dollar they're not spending on him, they can utilise elsewhere in their squad.
Correct.
That's it. Yeah. No, not a bad signing.
What else? I think that's about it for the news. Actually, is there anything else you want to talk about? Dylan Walker denied. He pled not guilty to his charges of common assault today.
Did he?
Look,
Of course he did.
Look, we have members that are popos, and look, as far as I know, the whole fucking thing's on tape. So I mean, that'd be very interesting to see what kind of technical interpretation of the law that he bases that on. And my feeling is with these things, you just go not guilty. I mean, the trial proceeds, but I think you plead guilty. That's when the NRL's like, okay, you've pleaded guilty. You've done, that's pleading guilty. Has been found guilty. That's it. Chop. And maybe not guilty is just a way of prolonging that and just throwing the Hail Mary up there and seeing if you can somehow get away with it at the end.
Yep.
Anyway, and there's a lot of Jack the Bell and stuff happening as well, but I don't really want to get too much into the weeds of that fucking alleged
that guy.
Rapist fucking
Fuck
man.
that guy.
Fuck him, yep. Okay, that brings us to the mailbag then. Let me just get my mailbag notes. This is going to be the second last mailbag of the year. So there you go. And I guess while we're talking about that, I've been talking to a great friend of the show, and this is a guy that we've known since he's a fucking kid.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Literally.
And literally since he was a kid, and we've watched him. As a listener, we've watched him grow up, and we've seen him have some fucking low moments at meetups, but we've seen him we've seen him grow. We've seen him start to make his way in the world and and career.
Yep.
And he's at that stage where he's a lawyer. He's just become recently, over the last couple of months, an accredited agent, an accredited NRL agent, and we shit on agents a lot.
Yes, we do.
You've got your situations with your Isaac Moseses and that sort of thing where they're just an absolute fucking stain on the game. So, in talking to Mike, I was like, well, here we go. You're a brand new agent for the NRL.
Yep.
You've got your agency you've set up. So how about knowing you that the way that we do, you're obviously a person that has integrity and everything, and looking to do things in a better way than what we've seen in the media with some of these other guys over the last few years that we've railed against. So next week, I'll put it in a Facebook group on Thursday, but it's basically going to be an Ask the Agent forum. Do you have any questions about how an NRL agent, what they do, how they do things, what an agent thinks about this situation, thinks about that situation, you need clarification on any of this sort of thing? It's basically an open mailbag next week up until the time when we record the episode. And yeah, throw it up to you. We'll probably have some questions of our own.
Yep.
We'll, he'll go through and he'll sort of pick out some of the questions that he likes to look of as well. I mean, obviously we're not going to entertain any questions that maybe lead him down a path that where he's going to be unprofessional or something like that. But if you want to hit an agent with some warts and all questioning about what's involved in the job and that sort of thing, fucking go for it. I'll mark it as an announcement on the Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook, you can always send us a direct message on Twitter or an email to business@thisweekinleague.com. And next week, an Ask the Agent special. And also, while I'm thinking of announcement stuff, we've gone through and we've sort of tried to get the shortlist for the Twillies done, basically just to take some of the weight off our shoulders, and also just so we don't sort of so things don't slip through our mind when it comes to various players that should be recognised for their season. The voting for the Twillies.
I would also just like to point out, as you're talking, I'm going through the application form to become an accredited player agent.
Yep.
And I'm fucking devastated that we were not hit up for a testimonial.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But so the short list. You guys have had your say on the short list. So we're gonna go away and we're gonna get the voting together. The voting's gonna go live on Friday this week, so in a couple of days' time. It's gonna be up for a week, and then next Friday night, Twillies. We're gonna announce the winners, and that one will be live. We're all over these fucking live streams these days. I mean, honestly, we could almost do every episode live next year. But I'm not going to go down that road because, I mean, as people who listen to the game companions know, the machine doesn't move as smoothly when it's live. But yeah, so the more votes, the merrier. A random vote is going to get a membership for next year. Maybe throw in a Digi membership for someone as well.
That's it.
And have your say. I mean, the Dalians have had their say. I'm sure all the various fucking publications have had their say. Now it's your chance to have your say on the players who deserve recognition for their seasons in 2020. And also, the members and, the people that we interact with on social media as well, that you guys who are on that side of things would recognise as well. So anyway, off track, but those announcements are done, and now it's on to the mailbag. Second last mailbag of the year. Last one is going to be for next week. Liam says, which two clubs are the biggest joke in the NRL, and why is it Balmain and Western Suburbs? You said it, my man.
The one thing I can put on the clubs being absolute fucking dumpster fires is that their head office has politics going on within it.
Yep.
If you look at all the reports that came out of Canterbury Bankstown, was that within their board there were two factions.
Mm-hmm.
And everything I've read about it described it beautifully as, if one faction ever got their way. So, for example, let's say one faction was for hiring Dean Pay. Dean Pay is then operating with an entire subsection of the board gunning for him to fail, just so they could have an "I told you so" moment about what the other faction within the board wanted to do or put into place. Yep. And so he's working with essentially half a club against him.
Mm-hmm.
Then you look at the Tigers, and West and Balmain absolutely fucking hate each other.
Yep.
One of them's financially propping up the club. The other one goes on about, history and fucking all this other stuff. And so they can't get themselves right in their front office. How does anyone expect them to build anything? So,
yeah.
Again, just as with player agents that need to be professional, the NRL needs to look at the fucking operating models of all of its clubs and standardise it.
Yep.
They're publicly traded, and they're owned by a leagues club, but they operated by a leagues club. They have a leagues club that's a shareholder in the business that then gives them fucking, repayable loans or grants. Who fucking knows? But yeah, highly unprofessional.
Yep. Josh says, when's ideas for 2021 membership coming up? It's a good fucking question. It's a great fucking question. Now's as good a time as any. I mean, in Twillies, we do have like a little sort of survey at the end, where people give us ideas, but we never really reap like a ton of awesome, viable ideas out of that at all.
Look, there's not much we can't do.
So look,
it comes down to what cunts are happy to pay for.
Yeah.
And actually, I shouldn't say that. This year, in 2020, if you remember, we found out obviously that there is some shit that we just can't do because of Rona. I think all the bad eater factories are up and running. Although, we might be at war with China by early 2021, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe Chinese flag TWiL shirts. Just as a fucking hedge.
Glorious leader.
I swear, you
don't
look
we're
like
happy to hear. Yeah, we're happy to hear ideas. And fuck it, I'll put a thread up in the Facebook group or whatever, and people can chuck stuff in there if they want to. I know in saying that I'm setting myself up for a period of time where I'm gonna have to read through some fucking retarded semi-joke dumb shit. But if there's actually some serious suggestions in there that look great, then it'll be worth it. Eric, or maybe first time caller, I'm not sure. Can you recommend a decent glory hole in or around the Ipswich area? I'm staying there Wednesday night and I'm hoping to escape the wife for a few hours to service a few poles. Obviously, this information finds you too late, Eric, because we're recording on Wednesday night. However,
no, but I did.
Is Toowoomba in the Ipswich area? Because I know a guy.
Can you change a tyre? Because he'll give it up for anyone that can help him with a spare. I did find that there's one I didn't know about on the Gold Coast.
A glory hole?
On the way to Hope Island.
Right.
If you come off the motorway and you're heading out towards Hope Island.
Yeah.
Just before you get to the start of the big section of all those roundabouts in a row.
Yeah.
There's a little block of grey public toilets on the right-hand side of the road.
Okay.
And apparently if you go past there in the daytime, there's fucking Ferraris and Maseratis and all of those supercars parked out there. Yeah.
Oh.
So,
there you go.
I'm thinking of getting some fucking blackmail happening.
They do a good job? Yeah. Were they eager?
I was with somebody who I had that in mind for later that night, so I could, hey, why don't we just stop?
Just so you would just get the first quick one out of the way.
That's it. Look, I'll tell you what, I'm going to duck in there. I'll be back in 5 and tell you if you're going home or not.
Terry said, whilst Cronulla will be pleased to pick up a blue-eyed, blonde-haired player in Tolman, they're not prepared for the mental degradation of the fourth tackle hit up 20 minutes from the try line. Oh, look, what the fucking 25, however many years of Paul Gallen didn't prepare them for that? I don't think there's a club more prepared.
Yeah. In fact, it's a return
they're literally
to form.
the most prepared. I mean, for Cronulla, it might actually, turn their fortunes around.
I'm fucking loving the mental gymnastics I'm seeing by Sharks fans trying to rationalise this one.
Oh, same. And like at the same time, I'm just like so fucking relieved.
Yes.
It wasn't us. because then there's the extra, Desi loves Tom and all that fucking dumb shit. And thankfully, there was a lot of it in the fucking Facebook group too, actually, around the time that he wasn't getting signed by the Doggies. Yeah. But it's all gone quiet over there. Matthew says, as a non-Broncos fan, how excited should I be at Kevin Walters running the Broncos next year? Listening to him on the radio a couple of weeks ago, he was more disappointed at losing the Queensland job and more worried about keeping his media job with no mention of the Broncos being a priority. Is it too early to start dreaming of consecutive spoons? # fuck the Broncos.
That's exactly what you should think.
It's free to dream. And look, I don't think it took an extraordinary set of circumstances to get that spoon for them this year.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to happen next year.
Yeah.
But I'll come if it does.
Correct.
Nathan says, is watching Origin in the middle of Queensland at Longreach the most ideal place to gronk off after a Blues 20-plus win? Well, I'm once again,
that aged poorly.
Hindsight has told us that didn't happen, and I hope you slunk out of there with around 20 minutes to go.
Because they do rape in Longreach.
They call it BNS balls,
yes.
I believe. Chris with a fucking serious question. I can't believe it. Should the NRL buy the English Super League?
No.
I heard talk about that through the week. Is that actually a real thing that's going to happen? I don't know how it came up. I just saw the whispers.
Again, I'm not sure they're done here. And there are so many little facets of the game that they just need to bring into the modern era, because we are still a mishmash of non-professional entities and very professional entities, all operating at different speeds and dynamics that they need to really get their head around here before they even begin to think about scale and taking something on whose major sponsor gives them free pizza and no money.
Oh, and when they're kicking like, you know, a team that's, look, the Wolfpack expansion experiment in Toronto was, they were a team that had fucking massive engagement with their fan base and rugby league fans all around the world. And to boot them out for the benefit of a fucking English club that can't draw fucking 6,000 fans to a game.
Yeah.
In a fucking little, in a fucking dog park of a fucking state. Like, it just beggars belief. But you're right. I mean, if the NRL could get their own backyard in order, I'd love for them to have them.
Yep.
I mean, it would be. Can you just like then you would have the situation where you'd have, like, you know, all the rules would be standardized at the same time whenever any changes were made. There'd be no sort of back and forth in the adoptions and all that sort of thing. Plus, I think if the NRL owned it, they'd push it. They, you know, obviously they've got to make some fucking return on that investment, and they, you know, push it a lot harder. There might be increased, you know, there might be ease of pathways for players between both, and because they're not really competing products. You know?
Yeah, that's it.
So anyway, that's it for the mailbag this week, and that's it for the show. Episode 377. Thanks for listening, everyone. As always, you can interact with us on Twitter, so follow at TWiL League. Our Facebook community at #TWiLNation. I would urge you to get in there, especially because, you know, we're doing things like, you know, membership pack suggestions and, you know, questions and stuff for next week's episode. Facebook.com/groups/TWiLNation. We're also on Facebook.com/This Week in League for episode releases and whatnot. Make sure you hit the like button and share that shit around. And if you'd like to support the show, make sure you drop us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to go the extra mile, our digital memberships are still available and can be picked up anytime for $3.99 a month. Fucking just, you want to support the show? Fucking just tell a friend. That's another easy way to do it. And that's it. That's all we got for this week.
Sad week.
Fuck Queensland.
Looking forward to the Twillies.
Absolutely miserable fucking end to a miserable fucking rugby league season.
That doesn't count.
But we got the Twillies.
Asterisks everywhere.
Doesn't count. I swear, I'm just gonna go and fucking just drink the Rohip. I'm gonna turn this whole fucking season into nothing but a painful, a fucking hazy memory that leaves me with a fucking sore ass.
Yeah, that's it.
See you next week.
Later.